A regular meeting of the City Council held in Council Chamber on Thursday, June 22nd, 2017, at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on June 20th, 2017 at 10:59 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councils are present. Council President Milo presided. Council McCarthy moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the reading of the record of the previous meeting. President Milo asked that we all rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Ryan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public testimony. T.Z. Riley Goggin.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. There are 2 items on your agenda this evening that piques my interest, my curiosity, and anything else that I have pertaining to what I'm going to speak to. The first is the Community Preservation Act. This was put in by our legislature during a given time where money was very, very tight. We now have it in this city because it was put on the ballot and was voted for it. But my main interest right now in speaking to you this evening is that I honestly feel we have it, we have to deal with it, and I have to accept it. But I also feel that the money that is appropriated, after you've had one bite of the CPA, that you should have to wait at least a minimum of 3 years to give other people an opportunity at the same amount of money. I realize the Community Preservation Act is a great way for many, many people to get things that they would not have. But right now, many items on the list that you have here this evening deal with maintenance. And maintenance, by the way, if you look at the rules and regulations of the Community Preservation Act, are not supposed to deal with maintenance. My next item that I'm interested in this evening is trim a tree, and I don't mean your Christmas tree. Near and dear to all our hearts is nothing more beautiful than a tree. This is the giving tree that we've probably read about many, many times by Sheldon. The giving tree, and that's exactly what a tree gives to each and every one of us. Everything from shade to the fruit that we eat and everything else down the line. But we have utility companies that come into this city, and they evidently don't realize that pruning a tree is different than hacking a tree. They come in not with small little items to cut or to prune. They come in with chainsaws, and indeed they do hack. Salem has a new breed of tree if you go around and take pictures. If you really and truly take a tree and you stand on your head, it looks like an upside down, bow-legged tree because they all have this item to it. Right now, I would say what we have to do with our utility companies is sit them down, have a contract, and say to them that we want certified people who are going to be out there when they are cutting a tree, not hacking a tree. I know that we have one arborist here, or we also need, I'm not quite sure the difference between an arborist and a tree warden, but I know one thing, that right now, National Grid, I've watched them. I have a tree on my own property that is just about dead. Why is it dead? Because it's been hacked to pieces. No more can we use Band-Aids. No longer can we trim it one way or the other. So tonight, when you think about the CPA and whether you're going to approve, and tonight when you think about all the work that the Lorax Committee has done, think twice about utility companies and don't make it so easy for them. Make sure that you have some penalties, and when it's time for permitting with these utility companies, that you say, maybe you wait on a permit until you do what we're asking you to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen McLaughlin.
Hello, Kara McLaughlin, 68 Dearborn Street. I'm also the Executive Director of the House of the Seven Gables Settlement Association, and I'd like to just comment on the agenda item tonight regarding the CPA. First, I want to thank the Community Preservation Committee for unanimously recommending the funding of the replacement of the roof on the Turner Ingersoll Mansion that is sorely needed right now. I also just want to acknowledge that many of you received, or that you all received a package that I sent elaborating on the need for this replacement, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to read it. And many of you spoke with me as well, and I hopefully answered any questions you had, but really I want to make sure you all know I'm here again tonight, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them regarding that project. Again, I know that some people in the past have taken issue with the fact that we're not a city-owned property, but we are a nonprofit public charity, not a private institution, and we exist for the benefit of the public, and I think many Salem residents, thousands, benefit from the House of the Seven Gables. So, thank you.
Thank you. Hearings.
Ordered that mobility for a grant of location to install a wireless antenna and related equipment onto an existing pole on Loring Avenue at Raymond Road.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor? We can have your name and address, please, sir.
Good evening. My name is James George. Excuse me. I'm the permitting manager for Mobility of New England. I live in Salem, Mass. at 158A Lafayette Street. So that's attractive. That's good. I am here this evening for a grant of location. Sprint, we're working on behalf of Sprint. We are looking to co-locate on an existing National Grid and Verizon-owned utility pole at the intersection of Loring Avenue and the name of the road, I got it wrong the first time. Raymond Road. Essentially right at the Marblehead walkway. The intent of this is to densify the area of Salem State. Sprint is very light in their coverage up in that area. We have a couple of sites in Salem. Obviously, the closest one is on the Park Avenue building as you approach before you come to the light and take the right. It is a macro site that's behind, that is enclosed within a radio frequency enclosure. It limits the transmission and the propagation. The small cell density project is to get small cell antennas throughout the community at the high level of the need and densify a series of blocks. Not so much miles, just get in an area of Salem State where they need the coverage. That's the purpose of this location. It is a 3-foot antenna. The wood pole exists. It is a 45-foot wood pole. We seek to add an extension to the wood pole of 4 feet and put a 3-foot antenna on top of that. That sort of gets us on top of the pole, away from the wires, and allows a little bit more height. That particular height of 51 feet is already in that area. If you come up this side of Loring Avenue, they have other poles that are taller with the T's. So the primary poles in that area are actually 50 to 52 feet. So I'm not going above the existing condition of the utilities. That's essentially the proposal. We're looking to do this more in Salem. There's an agreement in front of the administration to use city-owned poles. Throughout Essex County, several in Lynn, several in Swampscott, several in Revere, Everett, Chelsea, Boston. We have an agreement with the city of Boston. We're doing several hundred in the city of Boston. That is more of a replacement program where we're taking the existing lights that are owned by the city, either decorative black or steel light, taking them from the ground, replacing them with another light, with another pole, and doing our small cell. We're also allowing co-location space for public safety or whatever the city wants. So it's a national project, a national campaign. I'm excited to be involved with Essex County, especially Salem, so that's the essence of the proposal today. Now, there was an amendment to the ordinance that you all know. I am sort of the virgin coming through with that. I'm the first one coming through based on that amendment about how you amended the ordinance to allow for this type of structure. been through the routing slip, so all staff members have signed. They've looked at the plans. They've looked at the materials, asked a lot of questions. They have submitted their material or letters of recommendation. So there was a lot of spinning around the jurisdiction. I met with everybody. It took a long time, but at least it was all talked about and looked at. Electricians, engineers, planning, historic. Everybody has looked at it and signed off on the routing slip. That is an attractive way to do this. I've always felt that way. Generally, I'm accepting of this. It is in the ordinance, but it does get everybody, all staff members at every level, engineering, to give comments to the body before I get in front of the chamber, instead of it going the other way around. So I'm agreeable to this. So we have the fully executed routing slip. We have some comments from the planning board and the historic board and legal. To get this thing done to construction, the owner of the pole is a dual ownership, National Grid and Verizon. We have received the Verizon license. National Grid should come within days. So before I go seek the building permit, I will have all licenses in hand and then, issue the building permit. So that is a condition. And that's pretty much it. Any questions? That's what I seek this evening.
Any Councilor Terrio?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. On this particular service, I know Mobility has done several other installations within the city. And I know we were told last year when Mobility initially came in with the first several that were done, some others were deferred. One thing came up in discussion was that these are being built on behalf of Sprint, but theoretically are open to other providers should they want to reach an arrangement with Mobility to be able to use the pole with you. And I'm just wondering if in any of the stuff here in Salem or in Essex County, if you've had anybody come in to share a location yet.
Okay. To answer your question, for this particular location, because it is third-party owned, I don't control the co-location of that. Mm-hmm. To bring the body up to speed, we had 4 locations to replace existing streetlight poles and do small cell back in April of 2016. We have not done that yet. The agreement is still with the administration, so we have 4 approved ones to replace 4 lights in the city. So the answer is yes, we will allow for co-location. We've been having discussions with public safety and police for cameras in front of, allowing for cameras. We would even purchase the cameras to allow for a camera co-location to increase their public safety security. There was some talk and dialogue about parks and putting cameras on something to get into parks. We're working on that. The one up there on Washington Street, as you enter 1A Lafayette Street, the new Lafayette Street Park, that would be lit up, number 1, by Sprint, and number 2, we're offering a camera to look over to the park. Public safety has talked about Mary Jane down at the Point. We have a need for that. There's an active ring down there. We don't have any owned poles. They're all National Grid. What I would prefer is to come to agreement with the city, get a light down there in your right-of-way space, and get a camera down there. That's attractive. So that is what's happening for the additional lights, the additional work that we're doing with the city of Salem, and I'm hoping to get that done soon. You're welcome.
Any other questions, councilors? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. George, I was going to welcome you to Salem, but you already live here, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just a small correction, if I may, before I start. It's not called the Marblehead Walkway, it's the Salem Multipurpose Trail or the Salem Bike Path.
Okay.
We're still in Salem right there for another half a mile down the bike path. Can I ask, why was this, through the President, why was this pole selected versus the several other open poles that are right next door in front of the open lawn in front of Central Campus?
Okay, that's a good question. We're driven by radio frequency engineers. This had the height that they wanted, and I believe you're moving closer to the Park Avenue location, so we have a strength on that side of Loring Avenue where we are starting to get very weak as you approach the CVS and that intersection heading up Loring Avenue. So they sort of wanted to push it this way.
Even though it's all wide open with the front lawn?
Yes, is my answer.
Can you tell me how many feet you're away from that closest home on the diagonal? Approximately.
100?
No, I think it's more like 20 or so. There's a house right there next to the bike path.
There's a house on the other side of the bike path. Okay,
The pole is on the other side of the bike path, and the house is on the other side. The bike path divides the pole from the house.
okay.
The house does show on your plans.
Oh, you'd have to go across the bike path and through the lawn. Okay, 20, 50 feet, give it?
I'd say 20, 25 maximum.
All right.
I just think it would be more appropriate if it were out in the open area rather than up against somebody's house.
The locations are driven by radio frequency engineers. As I said, we have agreement with National Grid. I understand your question, but you're talking in terms of which pole. This pole was chosen as the best solution for our network.
There's 2 or 3 other poles of the exact same height in a wide open area, and I was just curious why they weren't chosen when they're just a few feet down the street and away from a house. By the way, through the president, I have less of a concern on here than I had on other proposals, where the poles were immediately in front of people's houses, 8 feet away. This is approximately, I'll stretch 25 feet away from the house. So I'm a lot more comfortable with this one than other ones that were right in front of somebody's bedroom.
The pole was chosen by site selection and RF, and that was the one that they wanted. If it was earlier on in the process, I would consider moving it that way, but we're pretty far along in the process. I think it's sort of apples to apples on that. I think we get the same propagation from both particular sites. I know you're saying about a wide open area, but essentially we want to target all those buildings where that is, so we get the same coverage from 2 poles down that we do 2 poles up, essentially.
And through the president, is there any excavation associated with this installation?
No.
I don't see it on the plan.
Okay. There's no excavation. We don't need to excavate through our power. Our power is already on the pole. We're going to pull down our power and have our own meter, yes, but there's no street excavation on this particular pole.
These are in the area of the brand-new bump outs that we just installed on Loring Avenue and Raymond Road.
I'm familiar.
Is there any issue with that one pole having a double light? It's like an octopus, lights going in several directions.
My answer is no. There's no structural issue. Both parties have done structural. There's no structural issue with the 2 poles, with the 2 lights as you described.
Madam President, had this installation been any closer to the house, I'd be voting against it. But because it is, in my personal opinion and semi-professional opinion, is far enough away, I'll be supporting this tonight, and it is located in Ward 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay, seeing none, is there anybody here opposed to the project that would like to speak? No? Okay. Council McCarthy, you look like you want to...
No, I just looked to see if someone was behind me raising their hand.
Oh, okay, all right, so since we have nobody opposed, Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I move that the hearing be closed.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, I move for approval.
Okay, do you have any other discussion on this? On Councilor Dibble's motion for approval, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Thank you, Councilor Dibble. Thank you, Chamber.
Further hearings.
Be back.
We have an order for Light Tower to install conduits for a building located at 76 Lafayette Street.
Do you have anybody appearing in favor? Hi, if you could state your name and address, please?
Good evening, Bob Walls, Light Tower Fiber Networks, 80 Central Street, Boxborough, Mass.
Thank you.
So we're looking to propose to dig 31 feet at a National Grid manhole 17 on Lafayette Street to bring new fiber optic service to 76 Lafayette Street. The owner of the building requested the service. It's to service all the tenants in the building. The trench is 18 inches wide. We go down 24 inches. We backfilled it, and then it comes with a hot top and fully restored. There's no trees in the way or anything like that. All the utilities are laid out, so we are going to be paralleling the existing electric conduits.
Okay. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you. On that, you're going to fully across Lafayette Street to do this installation. Roughly how long does it take to do the trenching on one of these when you're going through? But you just did one on Essex Street that went very, very well and was minimally disruptive. So I don't support it. But the question is, how long will it take? Because that's a fairly major intersection.
The whole thing will be done in under 8 hours.
All right, so just you basically do the lane restriction in phases to get through?
Correct. Oh, well, we're not crossing the whole street. We're actually just on the one edge of the street. I have a larger print here if you'd like to see it.
Yeah.
So,
Then there was.
oops, sorry about that.
Oh, okay,
So
so
we're
you're
on the
from
side,
here.
so we only need to block this
Okay, so
side
you're
of
going
the
for that
street.
manhole to-
Correct. And then we're going
Okay.
right to the property.
So it's just going to be a lane restriction, not a full road
Correct.
closure.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Counselor D'Amico.
Thank you, Madam President. Not being my ward, but my ward's across the street. Just some questions about this, and maybe the Ward 5 counselor knows. When was that street repaved last? I believe it was like a year ago.
Longer than that, but they've been in it several times for stuff, including the conduit that they're going to be tapping into. This is going into New Derby, which was just paved.
Right. So with that in general, I will say that the work that was done recently with the conduit by this company, right on Essex Street, the coordination was great, the work was great, but what happened at the very end of it, they did all the excavation, they got to the manhole they were going to go in, and then discovered there was no space in the manhole. So all the work was done and it wasn't able to get hooked up. So could I just ask, have you already explored if there's even space in that manhole for this already?
Yep, we have a license for it.
Okay. Has anyone actually opened it up? Because that's what happened outside of where I live.
Yes.
They opened it up at the very end and there's no space.
Yeah, I've already rod and roped the whole thing, so I know I have a path. It's already rod and rope, so now I'm just pulling the rope to pull the fiber in.
Thank you for doing that. That's
Oh yeah, that's what everyone should be doing.
all right. And then just to make sure, like, once you actually do that, to make sure if the trench settles to come back and take care of it there.
Absolutely.
But thank you for pulling the rope this time around. That makes me feel much better.
Any other questions? No? Is anybody here to speak in opposition? No? Okay, Counselor Terrio?
Thank you, Madam President. I move the hearing be closed.
Counselor? You stand when you address
Not
the
a public
chair.
hearing, but I'll go ahead.
Sorry. Okay.
Move the public hearing be
Thank you.
closed.
All right. On Counselor Terrio's motion to close the public hearing, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Counselor Terrio?
Thank you. Move this be granted.
Thank you. On Counselor Terrio's motion that this matter be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries.
Thank you.
Appointments and reappointments, none. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order per Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 64, to authorize to pay for prior fiscal year invoices using current fiscal year appropriations in the amount of $13,580.56 for the police department to North Shore Medical Center to pay for unanticipated medical expenses.
Counselor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Being no objection, Counselor McCarthy.
I further move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. This is just to pay a bill that one of our police officers had incurred some medical expenses at the North Shore Medical, and it's already been done. It's just paying the bill. I mean, the officer, it doesn't even identify the officer, doesn't matter to me. The officer needed some medical attention. The medical center provided it, and it's just a matter of paying the bill, and I have no problem with it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of authorizing payment for prior year invoices, we have 10 counselors voting, 1 abstaining, absent, 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a transfer of the sum of $12,500 within the Treasurer's Department as listed below. Debt, professional services, to credit card fees.
Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. Briefly, this is just a routine matter, and this is something that we do every year, that we pay out these fees in the Treasurer's Department.
Okay, any further discussion? On Counselor Giroux's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $1,561.43 from the Retirement Stabilization Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account for Robert Harvey of the DPW.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you again. I move for adoption.
Any discussion?
Thank you yet again. This is a routine matter. We want to thank Mr. Harvey for all of his years of service on the DPW, and I hope everyone supports this.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept donations from the following: Francis Mahoney to Recreational Donation Fund and Michael Petropoulos Recreation Donation Fund for a total of $3,350.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. These are two very kind donations from Mr. Mahoney and Mr. Petropoulos for commemorative picnic tables, and we just want to thank them very much for their donations.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept a donation from the following: Thread and Needle Society to the Council on Aging Donation Fund for the amount of $1,000.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. I also want to thank the Thread and Needle Society for their donation to the Council on Aging. We greatly appreciate this donation.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to authorize submission of the City of Salem's application for federal assistance housing and urban development for community development block grant funds for the period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. This is actually a routine matter. Normally, we get this earlier in the year, but the presidential administration didn't get it to us until later in May and actually June, and so that's why the request is being made for now. That really all that we're saying is that we're allowing the mayor to apply for $965,000 in community development block grants. And if you're not familiar with things that we've gotten through the community development block grant program, which we've had since I believe prior to 1990, so with the community development block grant and with the home program, we cover 5 areas. We cover housing, economic development, neighborhood improvement, social services, and planning. And especially in my ward, there was money to McGlew Park. And Mary Jane Lee had some community development block grant money in terms of housing. The program has allowed us to assist 238 families and this was between 2011 and 2016. So in the last 5 years, 238 families with their first, last rent and security deposits to move into safe and affordable housing. We've supported an average of 23 social service agencies annually to provide programs to an average of over almost 9,000 Salem residents. And we've conducted improvements to the senior center, acquired a site and created a new playground in the Point neighborhood, being Mary Jane Lee, and supported matching funds to leverage grant dollars. And it's just a fantastic program, and there's so many things that we could not do for our residents if we didn't have this program. So I ask for everyone's strong support.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the
We have an
mayor.
order to close Pope Street from Proctor Street to Boston Street on Wednesday, July 19, 2017, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the dedication ceremony of Proctor's Ledge Memorial.
Councilor Ripley.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. With the new memorial that's coming in to Proctor's Ledge, the memorial is actually very tasteful, very beautiful. And the one thing that I have actually had a conversation with is that the tree that's currently planted there is dying already. So I'm hoping that gets replaced prior to this. And I've had that discussion with her. Hopefully that gets replaced prior to then. But we do need to close off traffic for that limited period of time for the dedication ceremony.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Counselor Ripley's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Counselor Gerard. Nope. Get some late by.
Received after the deadline of Tuesday noon, an order that the sum of $20,000 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash to the following Council on Aging accounts: Council on Aging full-time salaries and Council on Aging full-time vehicle parts and accessories.
Counselor Gerard.
Hang on. Where? The late, I don't have a copy of this. Thank you. I move to refer this to Committee on Administration and Finance due to the late file. Move for, okay. I move for a suspension of the rules to allow the matter to come before council due to the late file, which is Rules Section 28A.
Okay, seeing no objection. Counselor, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to refer to Committee on Administration and Finance due to the late file.
Okay, second. All right, there's no discussion, that's a late file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
In order that the sum of $20,329 is hereby appropriated from the capital outlay renovation and repair account to be expended for the repairs of electrical system in the pump house at the Old Salem Greens by the Recreation Department.
Counselor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow the matter to come before council due to the late file under Rules Section 28A.
Seeing no objection, Counselor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to refer this to the Committee on Administration and Finance due to the late file.
The late file, no discussion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Ripley.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and the City Council, June 22nd, 2017. Ordered. Beginning immediately, all regular pruning, maintenance, and/or removal of street trees by utility companies and/or their agents within the City of Salem shall cease. These activities shall not recommence until the earliest of the following. The City Tree Warden issues a reinstatement order. The City Council enters a subsequent order, or September 14, 2017. Notwithstanding the above, in an emergency situation threatening public safety or public health, the City Tree Warden may temporarily lift this order to allow for emergency pruning and/or removal of street trees by utility companies and/or their agents. Further, the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, shall meet to discuss recent over-pruning and destruction of trees by utility companies conducting pruning and maintenance operations in spring 2017. Invited to this meeting shall be the City Tree Warden, the DPS Director or his designee, representatives of utility companies with utility lines and poles throughout the city. I move for adoption, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. This came as a result of several occasions over the course of this spring where various neighborhoods have had primarily, if not exclusively, National Grid come through the neighborhood to do their, it's not yearly, but every few years, pruning of trees to ensure that we have a working power supply. And we do need to absolutely have a working power supply for the safety and comfort of all of our citizens. What's happened, though, unfortunately, is that there has been hacking, I think, as one member of the public had mentioned, of several of those trees in several of those neighborhoods. It came to my attention through Facebook posts by several individuals in the Federal Street area, and then also apparently there were some issues of pruning, at least that I heard of recently after I filed this, on Loring Avenue. This is the additional information that I have, Madam President, is that Rick Rennard, our city tree warden, and the difference between a tree warden and an arborist is certified as an arborist, someone who specializes in trees. A tree warden is one specific arborist who works on behalf of the city and is the official word on trees for that city. Our tree warden had been placing calls to the specific work crews that are agents of National Grid, and he was not getting return telephone calls. And many of these incidents were taking place during the weekend while City Hall was closed. And so because there had not been returned phone calls, that's the main reason for this request. I obviously spoke with the tree warden ahead of filing this. He said, yes, please file this. And in addition, Madam President, this afternoon, I got a return phone call from National Grid. Dan Cameron, who works on behalf of National Grid, we had a very positive conversation. He is wanting to have a public hearing, and so we were on the same page, singing from the same song sheet, to talk about what standards that the utility company uses for its tree pruning. And that they do have certified teams. They have to not only be equipped with understanding trees, but they also have to understand the dangers, obviously, of electric use and live wires, et cetera. So just to comment on an earlier public comment, they are trained individuals. I don't want the public to not think that there aren't trained individuals. But they can certainly do better on the tree pruning side. So, long story short, Madam President, Mr. Cameron agrees that there should be a public hearing. I had a preliminary conversation with the Ward 2 Councilor, who is also the chair of the Public Health, Safety, and Environment Committee, to have a meeting sooner rather than later. My conversation with Mr. Cameron was, if we can have this meeting after the 4th of July, he agreed with that. We can have him, we can have their forestry department who are responsible for this. We can also have Rick Renard, our city tree warden, present for this conversation. We can open it up to the public so the public has the ability to ask the questions and find out, okay, here are the standards and so forth. I will tell Madam President that the Lorax Task Force, in drafting our draft tree protection ordinance, which will be forthcoming, I promise. One of the things that we're contemplating is many communities have a tree manual that is put together by the tree warden of a city. And with my conversation, and so the intention is that we would pass this ordinance that will endorse the tree manual, which will be the policy of the city as it concerns tree pruning. The reason why that's important, Madam President, is that National Grid and other utility companies, and I got confirmation from Dan Cameron on this, they will follow the local tree pruning ordinance, the tree pruning guidelines and primers. So once we get that in place, that will allow us to do this. So what this moratorium effectively does is this. For right now, there won't be any tree pruning by the utility companies. We have our meeting, we seek input from the public and so forth, and hopefully within this time period, Mr. Renard can come up with his suggested tree pruning, probably guided by other cities and towns across the Commonwealth. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And we can have this done hopefully within a month or so, perhaps as early as by the time we have our July 20th meeting. So that's what I'm asking my colleagues, if we can vote in favor of this. We've got the support of Rick Renard, we've got the support of Beth Renard, our city solicitor, and we have the support of National Grid along this as well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. And I also am a member of the Lorax Tree Committee. And I had a discussion, we had a meeting this past Monday night, and I had a discussion with the good Ward 4 councilor when he asked my opinion of this. When the meeting was over, we were walking out the door, and we talked about it, and I approved this. I can't approve this, but I welcomed it. Because basically, and I have a long history of trees in Salem, from 1986 to the year 2000, I ran the tree planting program in Salem as an employee. I left in the year 2000, 16 years ago. But I put in about over 9,000 trees all around Salem, and I'd like to see these trees better protected. So I applaud the efforts here that the good Ward 4 councilor is bringing forward. I have a concern that this matter was submitted to the city clerk on Monday. Monday night, we had a meeting of the Lorax Tree Committee where we had all sorts of experts present who were volunteering their time to help protect the trees in Salem. The tree warden, Rick Renard, was there. Sean McCrae is Assistant Director of Public Works in charge of protecting and maintaining our trees. And myself and a bunch of other people were there. But yet this issue did not come up at all. And it would have been wonderful to have a discussion about the need for having the utilities in for a hearing to stop their work. And we could have got expert opinion from the people who are charged with protecting our trees in Salem had it been brought up during the meeting. So I'm just curious why the good Ward 4 council who chairs that commission, we didn't have a discussion about it, which I think we should have, to hear from the experts who get paid to protect our trees in Salem.
Councilor Epley, then Councilor Sargent.
Part of the problem, as the good Ward 7 councilor knows, is unless something is already posted on the agenda, we can't discuss it during that, even a task force meeting. So the only thing that was listed for that particular task force meeting on the agenda was continuation of the discussion on the tree ordinance. It wasn't on discrete pruning issues by utility companies. There would have had to have been notice in that regard, so that's the reason why I didn't bring it up during that particular commentary period. But there also were some issues that were happening over the course of the weekend. So,
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate Councilor Epley bringing this in, and I know that the LORAX committee is working hard. Some time ago back, I brought in a council order asking for the rules that the National Grid uses for trimming and cutting trees, and it got a little contentious, and everything's good. But we worked it out, and it got passed, and I got the rules. I've been reading through them, and I was going to bring them in tonight as a late file, just to put in the Legal Affairs Committee in case we had to have any issues legally with it. So they'll be sitting in there in case we have to have the city solicitor in for that, and I'll give everybody a copy of them. The city clerk's office was kind enough to make me 11 copies just before the meeting. One question to you is this going to be for private property also? I know we're talking about the trees that they trim underneath the wires, but there's issues with private property also, so it may be a friendly amendment that they don't go onto people's private property outside of an emergency also. Understanding, and if there's a tree hanging on a wire, of course they can. We all know that. And I'll explain why. I'll give you a chance to think about that. But they show pictures in these rules of how they trim trees, kind of award-winning arborist pictures, and they don't look anything like that V that we see underneath the city wires. They look much prettier. And the other thing is that I asked about private property is the notification on private property. I really think it's trespassing, and in my humble opinion, it violates private property rights because it allows them. This is their door hanger. It allows them to put this on somebody's doorknob or send them a letter and let them know about it. And then the second part of it is we told you about what we wanted to do in the past, which could be yesterday, and the work we performed today was because of that. So you could be away for a week or have no notification, and you got your tree cut down to the ground or trimmed pretty bad. When I dug into this a little bit further, and they have a form you can sign that gives them no permission to come on your property except for an emergency. And I know of this because they came on my property and cut trees down to the ground that I didn't feel had to be cut down. So that's what got my interest in this part of it. But I appreciate what the tree committee is doing. Don't want to be redundant with them, but I'd like to put the rules that I got into legal affairs in case we have to later on with the late file. So, thank you.
Councilor Epley.
I accept the friendly amendment, absolutely, to the order, and I thank the at-large councilor.
May I also that we put a copy of the rules in through your Council Epley, maybe we put a council of the rules in with your order also, so they're handy for that Public Safety Committee. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I also would like to offer a friendly amendment to the good Ward 4 councilor's proposal here tonight, that we add the National Grid's division of natural gas to the list, because there are several streets in Ward 7, Buchanan Road and Lincoln Road and part of Cleveland Road, that have had persistent gas leaks in the area for more than a decade. and natural gas is proven to wind up kill and significantly harm trees. So while we're having that group in, if we can have their gas expert come in as well to talk about the damage that's happening to our trees through natural gas leaks. All you gotta do is drive through Buchanan Road to see the half-dead trees along the street. Again, this is something that I really support, and I applaud the Ward 4 Council for bringing this in. Today, we're looking at the Conservation Commission an enforcement order for a similar issue where the MBTA hired a butcher, if you would, to come in and prune all sorts of trees in Ward 7 in conservation land. And the MBTA has apologized. They're going to make it right. They're going to replace one for one each tree that they improperly cut down on property they were not supposed to be cutting down without permission. So that's something that we've been working on today, which has nothing to do with this, but the MBTA is stepping up to correct it. So I'm wondering if the good Ward 4 Council would like to add the natural gas discussion to this proposal to further protect Salem's trees. Councilor Ripley.
I am in 100% support of what you want to do, and I want it to be at that meeting as well. But I think because that's a separate, substantial issue, that it probably needs to be a late file that's referred tonight to the same committee meeting. But I'm in complete support of it, but I think procedurally that because it's a completely new substantive issue, because it wasn't noticed earlier, that we probably do to make it a late file. And I don't want to tread on the good Ward 6 councilors and her thunder, but I believe she's going to bring a late file on the issue of double poles in National Grid for the same hearing.
That's going to be a long night.
It's going to be grid all night, you know. But the lights will be on. We'll have the lights on for it. But I would absolutely agree to the Ward 7 councilor's point that we raise that issue, and that, for example, representatives from SAFE be invited to that meeting because of their work that they've done on gas leaks and the health of trees.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor Epley's motion for adoption as amended, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that the monthly financial report dated May 31st, 2017 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance. And I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in the year 2017, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time. Repeal Devereux Street in front of number 2 Devereux Street for a distance of 20 feet. Handicap parking only, tow zone. This was originally December 12, 2016. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter. And I move for adoption for first passage.
Into discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. This came to me through Lieutenant Przewski that the resident no longer needs the handicap spot.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Giroux's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Lovely.
City of Salem, in the year 2017, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 74, General Prohibitions, Towing Zones. Jefferson Avenue, westerly side, starting at Wilson Street and continuing in a northerly direction for 54 feet, no parking zone. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by the City Charter.
Move for adoption. For first passage.
Sure. I'll ask that we approve first passage.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any other discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none? On Councilor Lovely's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, year 2017, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic be it ordained by the City Council, City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 75, parking prohibitions, tow zones, resident parking, Hawthorne Boulevard, Zone A, color blue, easterly side from Essex Street to Charter Street, 2-hour non-residential limit, weekdays between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., resident sticker parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by the city charter. Move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, the Hawthorne Boulevard, that side is divided by the island in the middle, in the side closest to what used to be the Boys and Girls Club. But the Boys and Girls Club isn't there anymore. They had conflicting signs on the street that would basically allow people to be able to park all day. And so this is just, when contacted by some of the residents down there, I had Lieutenant Brzezinski and Matt Smith take a look at it, and their recommendations was what I just read, to try to clear up what was going on down there.
Okay, any further discussion? Councilor Famico.
Just a question through to the Ward 1 counselor. Why 9 a.m.?
That just allows people so they don't have to get out and move their cars. Because, I mean, right now the limits are from 5 p.m. till some other hour. I don't know. It just, what happens is the ordinance, briefly, didn't cover, it allowed people to park there all day, and right now there's nothing going on in what used to be the Boys and Girls Club in the school. So it still allows for the spots down by the cleaners, but it's just for those in front of the houses right there, that it just clears up the language, because right now there's signs on the poles that are conflicting. It allows for one thing, but it doesn't allow for it. But if you're a resident, they're conflicting. These signs, the residents are happy with these signs. This clears it up, and it makes it so somebody who's working downtown can't park there all day. Basically, is what happens, unless they want to come move their car every 2 hours.
Councilor Famico.
Yes, Madam President. Would the Good Ward 1 counselor be okay with changing that to 8 a.m. so it's consistent with our meter times?
The meters are on the other side of the island.
But this is a 2-hour non-resident parking, so that way it's consistent with the 8 a.m. start?
I'm not comfortable changing anything, because the Lieutenant Brzezinski and the Traffic Commission had conversations with the residents there that had reached out, and this is what they found was the best, most amenable situation to deal with it. Obviously, there's a lot going on there. We're only talking about a handful of spots, but they're right in front of residential homes, and it just provides. In 9 a.m. is one of those things that if someone isn't one of those people that goes to work at 8 a.m., I mean, the meter enforcement is right on the other side of the major traffic island on the other side. So 9 a.m. is what they've came into agreement with. So 9 a.m. seems to work. It just gives a little more flexibility. So.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. We have a few late files. Councilor Sargent, did you have your?
I can wait.
Yeah. Okay. Councilor Gerard.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that Public Health Safety and the Environment, co-posted with Committee of the Whole, meet with National Grid and other utility companies to discuss double poles, and that the city electrician be invited. Also, this meeting shall be held on the same evening as the order relative to the moratorium on tree trimming, pruning, maintenance, and/or removal of street trees.
Thank you. That's a late file. No discussion. There may be some discussion up above with Councilor O'Keefe. I'm reminded of the double poles. Anyway, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Sargent, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that the National Grid tree cutting rules that were requested by the City Council be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs for further review. A copy of the tree trimming rules is attached with this order. No discussion.
No discussion. It's a
No
late file.
discussion, exactly.
Okay. All those in
Asked
favor?
it to be co-posted?
Yep.
I think it's. Did you say co-posted?
It can be co-posted. Fine with me.
Okay. All right.
Yep. I can, want me to add that on now?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Okay. All those
All those in
favor?
favor? Yep.
All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Dibble.
I did so good with that one. I got a couple more. I want to try. Okay. Ready?
Oh, you have more?
I got more, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Just a few
Counselor
thoughts.
Sargent.
City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that the Committee on Government Services meet to consider the formation of a quality of life committee. The neighborhood associations of Salem will be invited and asked to send a representative to this meeting. So, just a quality of life issue that I want to have the possibility
All right.
of forming a committee.
No discussion.
No discussion. Thank you.
All right. On Counselor Sargent's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Again, City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that the condominium associations of Salem be invited to a meeting of the Government Services Committee to discuss any concerns they may have concerning city services or quality of life issues. So, no discussion.
Okay, no discussion, it's a late file. And on Counselor Sargent's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Counselor Dibble?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017, ordered that the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and the Environment meet with utility companies providing natural gas to the City of Salem National Grid to discuss and make recommendations relative to gas leaks in the city, to include effects on trees, scheduling, and repairs, and that we invite SAFE, Northeast Gas, National Grid, and the Lorax Tree Committee, and Salem's Tree Warden, and that the hearing be held on the same night as the tree pruning hearing previously approved tonight.
And co-posted.
And co-posted with the
Okay.
Committee of the Whole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. On Counselor Dibble's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Committee reports. Counselor Ryan.
Madam President, City Council, June 22nd, 2017, the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered said matter and would recommend approval. Tag Day, Salem Witches Softball, and Salem High School Girls Basketball.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
No discussion, it's just Tag Days. Approval.
Okay. Counselor Epley.
Just one quick point. I just want to really commend the Salem High School girls basketball team for planning that far ahead for December and January. Good on them.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports, Counselor Ryan.
City Council, June 22nd, 2017, the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending an ordinance, relative to public guides. Yep, public guides, Chapter 40, for new prohibited conduct following Section 40.36, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
We had the public guides in Tuesday, a couple days ago, and it was a couple hours. They all got up and they spoke, and we discussed the issues that we've been facing with having the tour groups going around. There's a lot of good ideas brought out, but we need to keep it in committee. There's a lot of things we want to investigate more. Councilor Formico had some pictures, especially living downtown. She knows what goes on with those groups. And from what I got from that meeting, there are other groups that come in from outside the city that aren't licensed by the city that might cause this group to look bad, but I don't know the whole situation downtown. Other members of the committee can discuss, or the committee of the whole.
Any other discussion? Counselor Formico.
Yes. So with that, as the good at-large counselor was mentioning, the photos I submitted were part of the public record. I forwarded those on afterwards. But there are some key locations in the city that it's prohibiting our own residents from getting around, and in particular in front of the PEM properties. The sidewalk there typically gets blocked from one side to the other. And then if you were to try to go on the other side of the street has a lot of the ticket kiosk and booths with people selling, so there's really no place for people to walk in that regard. But during the meeting, we also spoke to the guides and said if they have any recommendations of sidewalks that could potentially be widened as we're looking forward in future years for the budget to help alleviate this problem, to also let us know that, because some are very narrow, and if we widen them, it could assist with that. We also discussed during this amplification during certain hours and limiting it, because tours can go to 11 p.m. and yet some restaurants that now are going to be allowed outdoor speakers, those stop at 10 p.m. and the ones at 10 p.m. are out of the way some. So a big part of it was considering the tours do bring a lot to the city and it's something for people to do, but at the same time we want it safe for the people on the tours as well as our residents getting to and from and walking around. So in addition to living downtown, I'm somebody that walks around a lot and has a lot of residents walking to and from, which helps us out other places. But we're continuing discussion, and if anyone at home also has any suggestions, let us know.
Any further discussion? Councillor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to echo the comments from the good Ward 2 councillor on the overall size of the crowd and how it spills out into the street. It's safe. It's fairly unsafe for the participants of the tour, but it's also unsafe for the Salem residents, other visitors who happen to be going the opposite direction trying to get by. I think our chairperson, Councilor Ryan, has done an excellent job of getting the word out and having so many people speak and try to tackle every issue on this, so that we're going to do it one time and do it right, I think. I think we need to stress, and I stressed this at the committee meeting, that often the tour groups are so big that the stragglers at the back of the group wind up running to catch up, and they might be bumping into some of the cemetery markers or running through a flower bed or causing some other problems to some of our infrastructure accidentally. I think sometimes the groups are just way too big. So hats off to our chairperson. I think he's doing a great job on this. Let's get it done, but let's make sure we do it right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you. Tagging into that, when it was just brought up the cemetery, and that's part of our discussion tonight, that especially with the Charter Street Cemetery that tours go through, part of the improvements for that are actually to help with the walkways to make sure people stay on certain paths, and there's lighting and other elements part of that. They made the tour groups a big part of the design and considering that going forward.
Thank you.
Hats off to Erin, who's here, for all her work on that.
Anything further? Seeing none? Okay. On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. City Council, June 22nd, 2017. The Committee on Ordinance and Licensed Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of amending an ordinance relative to Chapter 24, Section 2419.5, public consumption of marijuana and tetrahydrocannabinol, I believe, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
Thank you. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation? Under discussion?
Under discussion, we had a meeting on Tuesday the same night. We discussed with the Chief of Police. Chief Butler was here, City Solicitor, and this was an order that you brought in, basically trying to make consumption of marijuana outside in a public space similar to public, like drinking, basically. And then there was people spoke against us doing this because when the law was passed to decriminalize it, they don't think people should be arrested for smoking in public, or we didn't even discuss the edibles or any of that stuff. So we decided to keep this in committee because there was a lot of stuff going on, and this is at the state level, the laws are changing. So I think there's more to be looked at, so that's why we kept it in the committee. And if you want to discuss, or anybody else has any say,
Any further discussion?
Be in committee.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017. The Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a $644,500 appropriation within the CPA funds for the FY18 projects listed below, has considered the said matter and would recommend adoption by roll call vote. And if I may, before accepting the, I'm sorry, can I just read off the projects? Sure. First. So we have the Nathaniel Hawthorne statue restoration at $45,000, Charter Street Cemetery restoration, $260,000, Turner Ingersoll Mansion roof replacement at $42,500, Brennan Memorial Skate Park renovation, $75,000, Palmer Cove assessment and concept, $27,000, Saltonstall School playground, $95,000, and Lafayette Park renovation at $100,000.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation? Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. We actually, this was a week ago, that we had a really good conversation with Jane Guy, who's here tonight from the Planning Department, and we also have Erin Schaefer here and Tom Devine. We also have some of the project leads here if anybody had any further questions about the CPA appropriations. We voted in favor of all of the appropriations. Oh, I'm sorry, and we also have members of the Community Preservation Commission, which we couldn't do this without your work, so thank you. So we discussed the ins and outs of the various appropriations, and we voted in favor of these recommendations by the Community Preservation Commission.
Thank you. Councillor Fury. Sorry.
We're blessed to have Jane Guy in public service. She is the epitome, in essence, of public service. She is the guardian angel of the last part, and mentioned we talked about tonight, Councilor Gerard talked about the community development grant that affects so many people across, over the years, every part of the city of Salem. But she's also the guardian angel to the Community Preservation Act. And she has an outstanding committee, and the city council actually appoints the Community Preservation Committee, and some of them are here tonight. They give a great deal of dedication. They bring a lot to the meetings. They bring a portfolio of a great experience, and we appointed each and every one who are very well qualified and put a lot of time into it. I've had the privilege and pleasure of attending many of the meetings, which are all public and which we all can attend, and we can all bring up our concerns. And there have been an opportunity for each and every one of us to go to these meetings. Now tonight we see the final product. Even tonight we can look even at this chamber of two beautiful paintings that have been restored by the Community Preservation Act. And not only in this chamber, but every single neighborhood, every single ward and precinct has been touched by the Community Preservation Act. We don't have to go too far. It's touched a lot of lives. So at the last meeting chaired by Councilor Gerard, well done. It was a 5-all vote. That's amazing. That's a credit to the committee. They asked some very good questions, very insightful, thoughtful questions about these applications. 16 applications altogether. That's amazing. And it was narrowed down, like a primary, like we have to, the primary we vote on, it was narrowed down to 7. These 7 choices that Councilor Gerard, chairperson, brought up touches the whole city. It's got to really be manna from heaven for each one of these projects. In fact, sometimes they're like a catalyst. Even the one that's doing the cemetery has got to be a catalyst to the building next door. So it has profound effect. The building next door to the cemetery on Charter Street looks like something out of To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a house that looks like a shabby, rundown building, but so much history. The Hawthorne family, the Grimshaw family, the Peabody family. It's going to be restored because of that. So we are so pleased to have this opportunity here, and thank you to each and every member. The City Council had an opportunity to serve as a member, but none of us chose. So we're very lucky to have you put the time and effort and energy in your. You can see the seeds of your what you've done and do each year. We see it as you go past the. I worked at the Salem Public Library for 6 years. It's one of the most beautiful libraries on the North Shore. The Bertram Mansion, great history. That is such a beautiful in and out building that's being restored to its 21st century. So all the things that you do, I say thank you, and I hope the committee, in their wisdom, votes on all 7 of these projects. They voted unanimously. The subcommittee that Councilor Gerard talked about, unanimous. It's a credit to everything that's going on, and thank you for, again, attending another public meeting, but much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Councilor Turiel, Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. We've had several years now of CPA appropriations, and the biggest issue, the biggest one of these appropriations that there will very possibly be some controversy with will be the Turner Ingersoll Mansion roof replacement. And I'll just say, when we first began, they were one of the House of Seven Gables were one of the first applicants to come in for CPA funding. And there was some discussion at that point, and I think it's been fairly well established that, yes, any of the nonprofit institutions of Salem are eligible to come before us. They're just as eligible as everybody else. We'd like to use this to save as many city resources as we can, but we do have, in a city like this, we have a number of private institutions that are there. They're nonprofit, they have historic properties that do need preservation, and a lot of them need financial help, and I completely understand that. And last time around I supported, I was a little more reluctant when they came back for further funding on the same issue later on in the year, but again, the CPC found in favor of it, and I wasn't going to contradict that. And tonight, I look at, tonight I'll be in support of their request for the roof replacement. My only hope is that the other nonprofits of Salem are watching this, and some of them are going to get more applications in too, because the CPC has been very generous with the applications that have come in. They generally find the funding to at least help all these institutions that come before them, at least to some degree. And I know there's a lot of institutions in Salem that could use that help, and I hope they pay more attention, and I hope they are able to benefit from this too, because the House of Seven Gables is very much deserving of this, and they are really a treasure and a resource for the city. But we should see some new blood also along with them. So I hope there'll be other applicants in the future. I'm going to support this tonight. There's other things here that I very strongly support: the repair of the skate park, the Salton Stall School playground. I'm and I put a letter in of support for that one. My son has moved on from Salton Stall, but for the last I think 3 or 4 years that he was there was no playground, and he's too old for playgrounds now, except to just probably get in trouble on them. But but having that be the only school in Salem that doesn't have one is just a shame, and I'm glad that the CPC found in favor of helping to take care of that. So we're going to make a lot of progress here in a lot of places in Salem. The Lafayette Park renovation is part of this. So this is all overall good, and hopefully there's more applicants.
Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd first like to start off with Charter Street and the Nathaniel Hawthorne statue. Just that, and if you continue within a 4-minute walk in any direction, it's really just helping our downtown core kind of have a nice facelift and some work that was long overdue. And with that, I'd also like to note for the Charter Street Cemetery that they also received a mass development grant of over $125,000, and that with our CIP and the other. So it's a really good example of leveraging the state funds with local dollars and not relying just on one. And with the mass development grant, it was also a lot of letters from our community members, as well as the tour guides we spoke of earlier wrote those letters, and that grant was actually submitted by Erin, who gets us a lot of money from different places with that, but she works hard and follows up and makes sure those go through. Tied into that, I'd also like to note that the building next door to the Charter Street Cemetery, that's actually the result of I think I mentioned this at a previous meeting, our assistant city solicitor took a page from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Instead of just going the legal route right away, she actually wrote a nice letter to the property owners and explained to them how much that house that affects our city and how much people love it. And as a result, they came in and work started pretty much soon thereafter. So I'd like to thank her again for that. And as far as the Salton Stall School, we had little Owen, who just finished kindergarten. He had his last day yesterday, and his mom's here in the audience, Owen D'Amato. And little Owen, he just finished up his year at kindergarten. He's going into first grade and really excited to be the bigger kid next year for other kids. But his mom worked tirelessly on this. She pulled everything together within a short period of time. And the part of that that really makes me excited is she also reached out to an occupational therapist. And the reason that's important is some of our students have autism or highly functioning autism, which is actually what we used to call Asperger's, and a big part of their day-to-day routine is they need to get outside and they have swings and they have other features. And Lisa actually made sure they were part of this process to make sure as we're building something, it's not just for play, but also for functionality. And I would like to thank her for all of her work on that.
Thank you,
Madam President.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. At our committee meeting, we had great in-depth discussion on some of these issues on possible funding. The good Ward 3 councilor suggested on one issue where I wanted the Turner Ingersoll Mansion roof replacement to to protect the city's money, the city's funding, to make sure that it was done right, to have the City of Salem's building inspector to review and approve the contractor and the materials to be used. I did. I met with the building inspector today, and he said, that's a great idea. I will welcome that, and I'll review it thoroughly and approve, so that it's less likely the same problem that the House of Seven Gables and quite a few other nonprofits around the entire New England had with the roofing materials 10 years ago won't happen again with city monies there. And also, we had one of the parents from Salem School present, and they confirmed that the designs for the new playground, which I look forward to going and help as a volunteer. I know a little bit about skateboard parks. I've only built about 7 of them throughout Northeast United States, but I've built over 1,000 public playgrounds in New England and New York and Pennsylvania. But I'd like to see a condition put on there, as I discussed in committee, that both the skateboard park design and the Salem School playground design, and I'm amazed today how many playgrounds outside of Salem do not meet the safety codes. But through this funding, I'd like to see it be a requirement that both the skate park and the Salem School playgrounds designs meet the safety and access codes of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, but also ASTM, which is American Society for Testing of Materials, and Consumer Product Safety Commission. Those are the 2 safety boards in the United States that speak to public playground safety, and the ADA, we all know what that is. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Girai.
Thank you, Madam President. We discussed this in our committee meeting that they already did meet those requirements. So I'm not sure what the ask is, if the question, and actually, I see Jane Guy has some more information, so can we allow for a suspension of the rules to allow Jane to address the council on this question?
Seeing no objection, Jane?
Anticipating that there may be some conditions that would be asked to be put on some of these approvals, I talked to the city solicitor today and asked her if the council can put on conditions that the CPC has not voted on, and she was concerned that adding any conditions would require having to go back to the CPC to approve that because it wasn't in their recommendations. That being said, I'm sure that the proponents of the projects would be happy to agree to doing those. I just don't know if we can put a formal condition on them without going back.
Councilor Dibble?
Thank you, Madam President. I've closed my loops on here. I've met with the House of Seven Gables, and they are in support of the building inspector reviewing the materials and the contractor selected. I've talked to the Salem School, and they say the plans already meet these codes, as the good Ward 4 counselor has suggested.
6.
I'm sorry, Ward 6 counselor. Sorry, I just moved you. This is something I'm simply trying to do on these 3 projects to protect the city's taxpayer monies. I think that we want to have projects that are done correctly, that protect our kids, that they're safe. The skateboard park was not discussed to that level, and I'm asking for it to be amended here tonight. But simply, as I did the other 2 at the committee meeting, I simply want to see the taxpayer dollars be protected. The House of Seven Gables have approved the idea of the building inspector reviewing their materials. I don't see a problem with that. If the plan for Salem School says it on the plans, I see no problem with putting a requirement that the plan, when our recreation director looks at the plans, it's got to say that it meets the codes, because there are so many playgrounds being built today that don't meet the codes. So my 3 requests for the skateboard park to meet the safety codes, for the playground to meet the safety codes and handicap codes, and for the roofing materials to be approved by the building inspector. I'm not changing the dollar amounts. I'm not changing the scope of the project. I'm not changing the design of the project at all. In fact, I think the projects are all going forward as originally approved and approved by the CPA Commission. I'm simply asking that the taxpayer dollars be further protected by a little bit of oversight here. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor McCarthy?
I applaud the good Ward 7 council for trying to protect the taxpayer dollars. We all do. But what he failed to do is he failed to listen to what was said by Ms. Guy. Jane had a conversation with the city solicitor, and the issue is this body, he outlined it perfectly what this body has the ability to do. Deny, reduce, or approve. It doesn't say anything about amending. And so the question becomes, if we do move forward with these amendments, of which everyone's agreed to. We Salt and Stall at the meeting we had last week already came up and said they meet these requirements. The building inspector already has these, is already in the loop, and it also falls under these, we had this conversation in committee, falls under the Historic Commission, because they can't go, the Historic Commission, if anyone's ever been in front of the Historic Commission, has a long litany list of what, because they have to go and ask for what they're doing, they have to approve materials, look, color, the whole scope. So there's going to be many eyes on this to protect taxpayer money. The only thing is a skateboard park, and I have no desire to get on a skateboard at this point in my life, or would I want to. But I would assume that anything they do is going to be better than the one we have, and in today's environment with the regulations involved, it's going to meet these requirements. So I would suggest we just take a step back and listen to what Ms. Guy told us, that basically she had this conversation with our city solicitor, and in her opinion would be that everyone's in agreement. Carol McLaughlin's sitting in the audience. She's nodding her head saying, we'll make sure the building inspector's in the loop. Everyone's in agreement, but if we go vote to put these restrictions on there, it doesn't meet the criteria of the restrictions, and therefore we could make this whole process delayed, in the sense that these projects would have to go back to CPA, then come back before us again because they weren't approved as amended. And it doesn't say, in the guidelines it doesn't say anything about amending. That's the concern. So my feeling is, I am not a lawyer. The city solicitor represents us as a city. In her opinion, we should not amend these things unless we're willing to send it back to the CPA committee.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Under this new information that we just received here tonight, I'm going to withdraw my motion, but first I want to point out that the first skateboard park that we have here in Salem was not built in accordance with the safety codes of the United States. I want to make sure the safety codes were in place at the time. I was building skateboard parks at that time. But it was not built in accordance with the existing safety codes. And I'm just hoping that the new one, I'm going to work with the recreation director to make sure that the new one is, and I'll work with the school, the Salt and Stall school where my 3 kids went through there, and I'll be volunteering this playground. I'll work with the principal and the PTO over there to make sure that that playground meets the design. And I already have the word of the director of the House 7 Gables that she'll, and the building inspector, that they'll work together to make sure that what happened 10 years ago with their existing roof doesn't happen on the next one. So I'll withdraw my question. But going forward in our committee, I'll make sure that these issues are hammered out. And we need to have, through you, Madam President, we need to have a discussion on how we can make changes to this when it's needed so that we can further protect the taxpayers' money on the CPA issues. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Fury?
Councilor Mallow.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we can continue the suspension of the rules, I have a question for Jane.
Please. Ms. Guy?
Just a quick question. Housing. That's another piece of the CPA, right? So there's nothing in here for housing. That's correct. But we have to put that 10% aside. Can you just give us a
Yes, so when you approved the budget a month or so ago, you approved 10% in each of the categories. So that 10% is still sitting in housing. It'll get carried over to next year. Next year we'll have to add another 10%, so it'll up the pool. But that money has to sit there. We cannot touch that unless a housing project comes through.
Thank you.
Councilor Mallow?
I just caught a piece of the meeting. Was there any discussion about, is the money going to be put away to look towards a bigger project down the road, or was it just nobody applied? Like, is there a plan or anything?
Is for the housing money?
Yes.
No, there isn't a project right now that I'm aware of, but I would not be surprised between North Shore CDC and Harbor Lake Community Partners that there would be something coming down the road.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't know if there was something.
Nothing in mind that I know of at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Mallow.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just had a discussion about taxpayer funds. I would ask that, I'd like to make a motion, actually, that we divide the question and that we take all but Turner Ingersoll up and take Turner separately so that we have an opportunity to look at the city projects and at the nonprofits.
On the request of Council Milo to subdivide it into two different votes, one for 6 and one for 1.
Second.
On discussion, Council?
No, second.
Seconded by Council Epley. Any further discussion? All those, discussion.
Thank you. So the reason I'm asking for this is simply because the CPA money is taxpayer money, and the city has a number of projects that need funding. And so basically, until we reach a point where the city's projects have all been addressed, I feel that we need to keep the money in the city, taxpayer money, and if there happens to be an overflow at some point in time, wouldn't that be great? Then we would address the nonprofit needs. So thank you.
On the motion, on the motion made by Council Milo, seconded by Council Epley to subdivide it into two different votes. One for 6, one vote will be for 6 of the items, and the second vote will be for the House of Seven Gables. All those in favor of subdividing it, please raise your hand. All those opposed? It passes unanimously. So, Council Milo, request is to make, which vote do you want to go first? The package of 6?
That's fine, sure.
Package of 6, which would include 6 of the 7 items.
That's roll call.
The first vote as a package.
No. What?
All those in favor?
Wait, it's roll call.
Why are you still on the floor?
Yeah, why are you still down here?
Because we haven't voted on it.
So to divide the question, you can go back over.
We voted to divide the question. Now we're voting to vote on the two different.
Switch places again.
I'm ready.
Okay.
That's
My pleasure.
Thank you.
That was first.
Okay. On the matter of the CPA projects, all the CPA projects except the Turner Ingersoll Mansion roof replacement, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Counsel Turiel?
Yes.
Counsel Sargent?
Yes.
Counsel Ryan?
Yes.
Counsel McCarthy?
Yes.
Counsel Lovely?
Yes.
Counsel Gerard?
Yes.
Counsel Fury?
Yes.
Counsel Famico?
Yes.
Counsel Epley?
Yes.
Counsel Dibble?
Yes.
Counsel Milo?
Yes. On the matter of CPA funds for 2018, on the 6 projects, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. On the matter of Turner Ingersoll, Madam Clerk?
Counsel Turiel?
Yes.
Counsel Sargent?
Yes.
Counsel Ryan?
Yes.
Counsel McCarthy?
Yes.
Counsel Lovely?
Yes.
Counsel Gerard?
Yes.
Counsel Fury?
Yes.
Counsel Famico?
Yes.
Counsel Epley?
Yes.
Counsel Dibble?
Yes.
Counsel Milo?
No. Thank you. On the matter of the CPA project Turner Ingersoll Mansion, we have 11 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, June 22nd, 2017. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of reviewing Mass General Law, Chapter 32, Section 90C and 90D, relative to retirement systems and pensions, has considered said matter and would recommend that it remain in committee.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. I heard from the Finance Director as well as the Retirement Board Director, and they want to do their due diligence and research this Mass General Law and figure out what stipulations this includes, and have asked that they can meet with the committee, and I'll co-post it with the Committee of the Whole before our next July meeting.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in City Council, June 22nd, 2017, the Committee on Community and Economic Development co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of discussing provisions for accessory apartments. Has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee, and after the solicitor drafts an ordinance regarding the subject matter, that the Community and Economic Development Committee co-posted with the Committee of the Whole hold a public hearing.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Basically, we're looking at accessory apartments, which are basically in-law apartments that presently are not allowed in Salem. But it would be a good thing to help certain families who might have some medical issues or financial issues to allow family members to live together, cohabitate in the same place, but providing some privacy, if you would, for part of that family, or a healthcare provider. Say your grandmother's living with you in the house, and the healthcare provider could live in that in-law apartment to take care of your mother-in-law or whoever that might be. But we need to make sure that we do this right, and we don't want to disrupt stable neighborhoods or create two families where it's not the intent of this at all. So we're really taking our time. We're looking at other towns that have similar ordinances, Beverly, Topsfield, a whole bunch of towns around, including Peabody, on, and taking the better parts of some of their ordinances and applying it to the City of Salem. And we need to give a big thank you to our council president for bringing this forward, and the volunteers at our senior center for putting in a lot of work. We had a wonderful meeting several weeks ago on this, and they have put a lot of work into the research and drafting of this ordinance. All that information has gone to our city solicitor in the hopes of preparing a very good model for the City of Salem that fits our Salem, but allows families to live and work together, but also protects our neighborhoods and doesn't expand it to two families, etc. So we're trying to do this, do it right, take our time, and I look forward to holding a public hearing where we'll receive more comment, maybe make more modifications for this thing, and at some point, hopefully soon, we pass this to help families that are in need of this, which currently is not allowed in Salem. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Communications from city officials.
We have the following order submitted by the city solicitor. Order that per Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20B, City Council to approve the exemption of mass conflict of interest law for John Jacob Frasick to serve as a reserve police officer.
Councilor Ryan.
Madam President, conflict of interest. My brother is a captain in the Salem Police Department, so I probably think that maybe Councilor Toriel, I just want to be safe. I didn't talk to the city solicitor. If Toriel can bring it in for me, I'll just abstain from the vote.
Sure, I'll do it.
Councilor Turia.
Thank you. Order, City of Salem City Council, June 22nd, 2017. Ordered pursuant to Massachusetts Conflict of Interest Law, General Law 268A 20B, the City Council hereby approves a 20B exemption for John Jacob Frasick to serve as a reserve police officer. Copy of the required disclosure form signed by Mr. Frasick. Chief Butler is attached hero.
Under discussion?
No discussion. This is just I move for approval. This is just Mr. Frasick currently serves the police department in a different capacity, and this would allow him to take the post as a reserve police officer as well, and be able to ultimately, I think he hopes to ultimately move on to the force. So,
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Turiel's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the Planning Board with their recommendation of denial of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment for Section 7.3.6.
Councilor Ryan.
Move received and placed on file.
All those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carried. Communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the Planning Board with their recommendation of approval to amending the zoning map, be rezoning the following properties for business neighborhood B1 to residential two-family R2, 15 Green Street, 72 Leach Street, 76 Leach Street. They waive the reading?
Waive the reading.
Okay.
I'll definitely move to waive.
Councilor Ryan.
Move received and placed on file.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Counselor Ryan?
Move the adoption for first passage by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Under discussion, actually, this is Counselor Toriel's ward, but actually my mother-in-law and my wife actually lived at 77 Leach Street across the street, so I know that area pretty well.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Counselor Ryan's motion, all those in, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes, sorry.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of amending the zoning map for first passage, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the planning board with their recommendation to amend the proposed zoning ordinance for section 9.5.2 applicability, section 9.5.3 application, and section 9.5.6 for review of criteria.
Councilor Terrio?
Well, move to waive the reading. Move to waive the reading first.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
I'll just send them in.
Oh, Councilor Ryan, you're going to take it?
Move received and placed on file.
Okay. All righty. And the discussion?
No, you have to vote on that.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Ryan?
Move for adoption for first passage by roll call vote. Unless
Under discussion?
As amended?
What?
As that they submitted? Amended?
As submitted. On discussion, anyone else have any discussion?
Councilor Famico?
Thank you, Madam President. I attended the planning board meeting for this last week, and for the folks at home that weren't present for the public hearing as it wasn't on TV, this is a lot of changes just to the site plan review for things that the planning board members said that they're typically asking for. And when they're asking for, what ends up happening is, yes, they can ask for it and applicants do give it to them, but sometimes it causes meetings to go out 3, 4, 5 meetings because people are coming back. One planning board member spoke of a transformer that's outside of the Chinese house at the PEM. And part of that reason was because it wasn't required to be shown on site plans. That's one of the things we're adding tonight. Some other changes that I'd just like to go through, Madam President. I'll actually pull this one up because this part doesn't have it. We're looking for things like, for larger developments, bicycle racks, storage areas. For actual walkways, anything going over 5%, because anything at 5% or more is considered a ramp by state law as far as accessibility. And at that case, there's also regulations as far as what's required for a ramp with railings and everything else to make sure we have that. Also to show anything on vegetated slopes, and the vegetated slopes over a certain steepness can cause things like not only rocks, whatever, and land going down, but it can affect flooding. So that's part of that. To go on, it asks for more details for the types of lighting going into projects. That's something also the planning board's consistently asking for. We go on and we're looking for things like the HVAC mechanicals, the transformers, to make sure we don't have those instances again, and also to take into account the screening for those things so that we're looking at it from the street. We go on to other things, the vegetation, they're now saying up to the curb line, because sometimes what happens, we have a new development, and we're not knowing necessarily what's happening outside of the property line and what's happening up to that curb. And another thing is to do 1-foot contours. What the 1-foot contours is more details to go back to that ramp accessibility part. There's been instances within the planning board that projects have gone before them, and they're taking a ruler and measuring out for the scale. And what was brought up during this planning board meeting, Madam President, was that with that, it's actually an easy change. It's a click of something on a program on your computer. It doesn't cost more money. And that's something that was brought up to us. One thing, though, that I will say, Madam President, all the councilors here have is we had a legal opinion from the city solicitor provided to all of us, and that's something I had requested. The reason I requested this is during the public hearing for the planning board, which I was not able to speak at, it was brought up by the director of planning, and we can see it on page 16 of our packet as well. It's the fifth to last line on that second to last paragraph. It says that the Traffic and Parking Commission is charged with implementing the city's complete streets policy, which applies to public right-of-ways. And it goes on to roadway networks. The second to last line says, unless the private development proposal is impacting a public right-of-way, the complete streets policy does not apply. Well, if we look at the legal opinion of the city solicitor here, which came back in afterwards, we got tonight, I'd like to bring up the last part where it's his opinion. It says the complete streets policy provides that complete street design recommendations shall be incorporated into all publicly and privately funded projects as appropriate, and that private developments and related roadway design components shall adhere to the complete streets principles. So what's troublesome to me, Madam President, is while the planning board was informed by the director after the close of public hearing, it did not apply to the developments. Our opinion from our city solicitor is showing within the policy that it does in fact apply. And I feel as though that did impact the planning board's decision in that, and I was not able to speak at that time. It does go on to say, it didn't come before us for those certain groups. But I'd like to also bring up the traffic and parking. If you look at the city ordinance for that, it says that the Traffic and Parking Commission shall make recommendations to the mayor and the city council to adopt or amend city ordinance and commission regulations relative to traffic and parking. The Traffic and Parking Commission was not asked by the planning department for their recommendation on this matter prior to this. As stated as well, the complete streets policy, it does say that it applies to private developments. So I'm very frustrated, Madam President, that a false piece of new information was provided. Although the Director of Planning is allowed to provide technical advice, that wasn't technical advice. That was just inaccurate information that City Solicitor said that. And it influenced the board's decision, as I mentioned, Madam President. And part of that is we're looking at this, and it's that while you can't cite a specific policy, there could have been a possibility to do principles or whatever else. But Madam President, due to the city solicitors saying that this can be applied, and also I sent a follow-up email to her following this recommendation, and I asked her, well, as we mentioned during the joint public hearing, can they review and not approve? Because within the four corners, you can bring something back, but you can't add more. So with that, Madam, I asked her, Madam President, can they review? And she said, as for the traffic and parking reviewing a plan, of course you can ask for their comment. So she said, of course. And said, but requiring another level of approval is her concern. The approval part, which we spoke about during the joint public hearing, Madam President. And as shown here as well, I have it over here again. Within the Traffic and Parking Commission, they can also add their regulations for this. So what I'd like, Madam President, is with all these changes from the planning board, is if it's possible, and I could just to check with the city clerk, to just divide the amendments, because with the last one for 9.5.3, and that is, we don't have all the current language there. So it'll be subject to review and approval of the Salem City of Parking and Traffic Commission, and they denied that. I'd ask that we amend that and actually ask for the review of that commission, because the planning board, when they were provided this, were told it cannot apply to these interior parts. And as the city solicitor showed, it actually can apply. So I'm wondering, Madam President, could we divide this and take up all of the recommendations except for the final section and then amend that?
So, Councilor Fumiko, your motion is to pull out 9.5.3?
To divide the amendment approvals, and so first do all of them up until 9.5.3, and then in parentheses it says 14. It's right before that paragraph there.
So all the different sections of
Everything up to that, just to approve the recommendation, I'd like to divide the second part.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on that motion?
Madam President, this is just to divide the question, correct?
Yes. Okay, on Councilor Famico's motion to divide the question, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. So the first matter we're voting on is everything but 9.5.3.
14.
And then parentheses 14.
9.5.3, 14.
Parentheses 14, yes.
Yes, okay. All right, so that's the first vote. Madam Clerk?
Are we voting on what their recommendation is?
To approve the recommendation.
Okay.
Recommendation as adoption.
The recommendation by roll call vote, except for 95314. Option first passage.
So you're adopting everything for first passage except for that?
95314.
Divided up.
14. Yeah.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the recommendation for first passage as amending section 9.5.2 and 9.5.6, 11 councilors voting, 11 the affirmative, 0 in the negative. That matter carries. All right. Now we have the next matter of 9.5.3, 14. Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to amend what I originally had proposed for this, and to make it subsections 3 and 4. And to refer back to 3 and 4, Madam President, that is adequacy of traffic system, circulation systems for all modes of transit, as well as adequacy of access points and routes to and from the land parcel to adjoining streets and ways. So I'm asking those for the above, subsections 3 and 4 set forth above shall be subject to review of the City of Salem Parking and Traffic Commission. So just the review for them to be able to give their comments on this. I ask for that amendment, Madam President, because at present, the planning board reviews this, sometimes we have peer reviews. However, Madam President, there are times that extra eyes in this situation could go a long way for these situations.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah.
Is it possible for this matter to be sent to committee at this point? Or would that
separate
kill?
matter.
Does it need to go back to the planning board? That's where I'm confused.
It's a, I think it can just go right to committee.
Reconsider the vote you just took and put the whole thing back into committee.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to reconsider the whole vote. I just want to
Just the
I don't want to reconsider anything. I just want to take what has been subdivided
Right.
and put that matter into committee.
14.
Correct.
Yeah. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Madam President. I need some clarification because everything that we just voted on, except for 9.5.3, subsection 1, I'm sorry, in parentheses 14, but then it was subsections 2 and 4, we had already voted to approve subsection 3. But now we already voted in favor of subsection 3, so now you're saying you want to go back to subsection 3? Because this one says subsections 2 and 4 for this particular
That was
one.
incorrect how the planning board wrote it back. On everything else, it's 3 and 4. So the planning board, when they provided their recommendation on this letter, well, not this letter, the other letter, they wrote 2 and 4, but everything submitted was actually 3 and 4.
No.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Madam President. If I didn't make the motion, I apologize. But I move that 9.5.3 parens 14 be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that?
Oh, I'm moving it?
on moving 9.5.3.14 to committee? Seeing none?
Co-posted.
Co-posted? Ola, co-posted. All those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Petitions. Does anybody want to reconsider? No? Okay.
I move
Councilor
for
Fumiko.
immediate reconsideration until that does not prevail.
Okay. On Councilor Fumiko's motion for reconsideration, in the hopes that it doesn't prevail, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter doesn't carry. Petitions.
Held from the last meeting, a communication from the Salem Wreaths Across America informing the council of date changes to their carnival to be held at the Salem Willows Park and Rec Commission approval with new dates will be held on August 28, 2017 through September 4, 2017. The dates include setting up, breaking down. Actual carnival dates are 8:30 through 9:03. From noon to 10 p.m.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval.
Under discussion?
On discussion, I further move to amend the hours on 8:30 till 9 p.m. and on 8:31 until 9 p.m. That'd be Wednesday and Thursday evening, only because it's right before Labor Day and some kids are already back in school. So rather than have the temptation or have a carnival down there, even though it's only an extra hour, I understand that, but Friday, Saturday night seems fine, 10 o'clock. But for those 2 nights, because they potentially have to be school nights for some individuals, I'm proposing to amend the hours till 9.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Further discussion? On Councilor McCarthy's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Salem Street to hold a block party on July 1st, 2017, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. with a rain date of July 2nd, 2017.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Under discussion?
Briefly, I didn't get the paperwork on this one, but it's gone through the channels for it. It's a bit longer than, it's substantially longer than most of these are, but Salem Street on the weekends is not a terribly busy thoroughfare, so it's busy on school days, very much so, but so this shouldn't pose a problem for anybody.
Okay, any further discussion? On Councilor Terrio's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Federal Street to hold a block party at the intersection of Andover and Beckford Street on July 9, 2017, from 4 to 8 p.m. with a rain date of July 16, 2017.
Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Under discussion?
Yes, I'd also like to request with that we get a wooden horse from the Department of Public Services to block off
Do that
section
anyway.
right there, which I know the clerk does already, but
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Fumiko's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Cedar Crest Ave to hold a block party on July 29, 2017, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. with a rain date of July 30th, 2017.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that it be granted.
Under discussion?
Yes, I think you all know my feelings on block party. I've hosted one in front of my house for 28 odd years or so now. And I think it's a great way of bringing whole neighborhoods together. And those listening at home, I encourage you to organize a block party in your neighborhood.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Dibble's motion, did you move for approval?
Granted.
Yeah. Okay, on Councilor Dibble's motion for approval, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Buffum Street between Mason Street and Randall Street to hold a block party on August 12, 2017, from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. with a rain date of August 19th.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. I actually just want to acknowledge Buffum Street resident Richie Wilcock and his son Sicario, who came here tonight to witness this, and he wanted to show Sicario all about City Council, and Sicario, I know, is very interested in this, so thank you so much for coming. And Richie was one of the main organizers of this block party, and he got everyone together. This is going to be between Mason and Randall Street, and it should be a fantastic opportunity with the opportunities to dunk public officials in a water tank, including myself. So we're really looking forward to it. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Dorad's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the Park and Rec to hold their annual road race, the Derby Mile, and use of city streets on August 25th, 2017 at 7 p.m.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval.
Under discussion?
It's an annual event. It's actually, the Park and Rec Department's actually taken this event back. It was, for a while there, run by, the Park and Rec had partnered with another organization to help them run it, and now the Park and Rec runs it themselves. It's a fundraiser for them. It's a fun, it's 2 races on a Friday night. It runs the wrong way back down Derby Streets. But it has a fun, it has a more serious run, and then it has a family run, which is kind of funny because you end up seeing dads running with their, and moms and dads running with their little kids, and it's kind of a neat way to get people, you get them down to the Willows, and then they come back downtown, and everyone kind of goes their own way and ends up in Pickering Wharf and all over the place. So it's a nice little road race to anyone who lives off of Derby Street. The street's closed through traffic, but obviously if you live on one of the side streets, I don't think anyone's going to say anything if you go the wrong way down your street to get home, and so you don't, because some of those streets you have to come off of, but that you didn't hear that from me. It is a fun race. It's one night, and it goes by pretty quick, so the amount of time that people are inconvenienced, we try to minimize it. They've redone the end of the run a little bit so that as the council president and I were there last year helping the police direct traffic as they were coming off of Orange Street. We allowed a little lane so people could, if they were going around, it could slip by Orange Street, and we moved the kind of finish line off to the one side. So it tried to allow some of that through traffic. So it's an event that's it's a work in progress, and hopefully they draw more participants, and it's a neat little run on a Friday night.
Thank you. Councilor Durant.
Thank you, Madam President. As a local runner who usually brings up the rear, I love this race because I actually have like 8.5-minute miles. This actually is a really great event. I know that they're always looking for volunteers. Actually, I volunteered last year. I think I had a triathlon the next day. So, but the volunteering, everything was really, it's a fantastic event, and more families should come out and do this. It's really, really fun, and I can't recommend it enough.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On Councilor McCarthy's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from Dan Schuman of Salem Cycles to hold a bike race with the Witches' Cup and use of city streets on August 9, 2017 at 4 p.m. and to have and sell beer on the Salem Common.
Councilor Formico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Under discussion?
Yes, Madam President. I also just add that but it's a great event every year. Last year was actually a downpour when we were there, and I was with some of the other councilors here. And all of a sudden, at one point, it just cleared up. But in between that, there were bikers out there, and they're just soaked and going around the corners. But it's just an amazing race, and I say it every year. I love seeing that aspect of it around the historic properties and around the common. And although everyone's always near the Hawthorne Hotel quarter, my favorite part is actually over near the Arch, because you get that change of with the bikers going by all the old historic homes and properties with that. I would like to say, Madam President, I would like to just say it worked out well last year. I'd like to just have a condition again. Dan last year made it the corner in between, if here's the Witch Museum and here's the playground, the corner over here is actually like the corner of I don't want to say death, but the wipeout corner for this road race because it's so steep. And also with that, Dan last year put these hay bales or something there to make sure that people know not to go out there. And it was really great, and it worked out well last year, so thank you for that. And I'd also just like to have a condition be that we have at least 3 recycling bins that are clearly marked in the beer tent. oftentimes we go to events and there's always just trash, or you're throwing your food plate away, and there's really no place to put your beer bottles or your cans or whatever, which would also be great if that could go to charity as part of those numbers.
We don't have any beer bottles.
Pardon?
You have to come up.
Move to suspend the rules.
Seeing no objection?
Dan Schumann, Marblehead, Mass, Salem Cycle, Witch's Cup. So this is our 10th year, but we don't have any beer bottles. It's all cups
Well, how do they pour it in?
from a keg.
From a keg? What about the ciders and everything?
The ciders, that's a good question. I don't know how they do the ciders.
I would like if you could add recycling in
Sure.
there, Dan.
Yeah.
And then if there happens to be cans or whatever from the recycling, if you could donate to charity on your own, that'd be awesome. But just in general for that, and it's a great event you put on, and it's great to have a local business running something like that that is also enhancing the city in a different light. So thank you for all your work on that.
Thank you.
Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like to add my comments that this is something that I've been volunteering for years, and we really have a great time with this, and I hope that more people come out and watch this. It's really exciting to see these incredible, incredible athletes, even the amateurs. They go so fast. If I could ride, I would probably get pulled after the first lap from being too slow, but these folks go incredibly fast, and it's an amazing, amazing event to see. So thank you for continuing to hold it, and thank you for letting me volunteer.
Thank you.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Just real briefly, I'm fully in support of this event. It is, and I say this every year, this is one of Salem's signature events that we have as a key part of Heritage Days. It's a big race on the New England cycling scene. It's a fairly prestigious race as they go. The one year we didn't have it because of all the construction, it really brought a downer to the whole Heritage Days week, and it was wonderful that when we were working with National Grid on the plans, Councilor Famico and I and Councilor McCarthy all sat on that because we were the ones with the affected wards, and one of the priorities for repaving was to make sure that they had that area repaved first so that we could have the Witches Cup and only be 1 year without the race. So they were able to bring it back and get that done in time. And like I said, it is a tremendous event. It's free to come down and watch. I recommend that everybody who can do so. The bigger the crowds, the better, and the more energy the cyclists get from it. So definitely come down, and I strongly support it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Famico's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions?
Thank you very much.
We have a list of license applications for limousine, public guides, and taxi operators.
Councilor Ryan.
Move granted.
Under discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions?
We have a license application for 2 tag days, Salem Swampscott Youth Hockey and Salem High School Basketball.
Councilor Ryan.
Move referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Being no further discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions?
We have 2 drain layer contract operator license applications, Mantor Company, Inc. and Suffolk Engineering, Inc.
Councilor Ryan.
Move granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions?
We have 1 claim.
Councilor Ryan.
Move referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
No further discussion on Councilor Ryan's motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions?
We have 2 drain layer bonds, Mantor Company and Suffolk Engineering.
Councilor Ryan.
Move referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs and return to approve.
Discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time Nursery Street.
Councilor Giroux.
I move for second and final passage.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Giroux's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of a bond order for fiscal year 2018, General Fund Capital Improvement Program for the following sums. Fiscal year CIP funded from bond premium, $510,388. Fiscal year 2018 CIP funded from capital leases, $503,600. Fiscal year 2018 CIP funded from bond authorization, $3,842,460.
Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Just briefly, these are the amounts that, the funding that we approved at our last meeting, and this is just routine matter.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the second passage of a bond order for fiscal year 2018, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Further unfinished business. Counselor Giroux.
We have second passage of a bond order for fiscal year 2018 water sewer capital improvement program for the following sums. Fiscal year 18 CIP funded from bond premium for the sum of $651,799. Fiscal year 18 CIP funded from bond authorization for the sum of $500,000.
Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
No discussion, same thing as before, routine matter.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Oh, Counselor Epley.
Oh, wait.
Okay. On the matter of the second passage of a bond order for fiscal year 2018 water and sewer, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Counselor Epley.
Thank you, Madam President. Point of personal privilege. I just want to make the announcement that this year marks the sixth annual Pride Festival for the City of Salem. And activities actually began tonight with an interfaith service over at the Tabernacle Community Church. And coming up this Saturday, we have our annual parade as well as festival on the Common. If anyone is interested in marching, you can go down to Riley Plaza and you can hop along with whomever you want to. I'm sure that many of the entrants will be happy to have you come. It's a very fun time, very family friendly, and it marks really the diversity that Salem is and really respects. So I just encourage everyone here as well as everyone at home to come out for that later this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a moment of personal privilege. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge both you and Rosemary O'Connor for getting your Unsung Hero Award from the state legislature. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Counselor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Thank you. We are adjourned.